That's a proper trade fume challenge.
Absolute reducer. Another one to add to this reel.
Into the fear. Goes down. Free kick Sunderland.
Yes.
We're almost there.
And Anton turns it like a goal.
We're almost there.
Hello and welcome to Black Cats Chat, the international fans podcast for Sunlun AFC. My name is Lee Thurkle. I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats. And for the final podcast of the season, we've got an all-star cast again. We've got a full house. We've got Chris. Chris is in Brisbane. Chris, how are you, mate? Good evening to you.
I'm very good. Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm a bit sleepy, but not as bad. Not as bad as my next guest, but it was just below you. Is Dermot? Dermot's in Madrid. He's got a bit of a hangover because he was at a festival last night in Madrid. Sorry to mention that, Dermot, but it had to be done. How are you, mate?
That's okay. Not too bad. Yeah, happy to get up and chat about last week's proceedings at the same time. But yeah, I was at a music festival, and yeah, getting older, and can't take it as much as I used to be able to. But anyway.
I don't know. I think you must be like having the last two Sundays. You must have had a massive hangover because last weekend you had your daughter's graduation, and Sunderland got promoted. So you must have been like hungover for then. And last night you've been to a music festival.
Well, you know, every weekend, isn't it? There's an excuse for something. You got to find an excuse. But yeah, certainly a big excuse last weekend, and unfortunately, I didn't get to go like a couple of yous did. But I'm sure you'll be telling us about that. What an experience that was, seeing us winning in Wembley yet again.
It was a different type of fiesta, wasn't it, Ian?
Yeah.
And our next guest is Ian. Ian is from Seam, and he lives in Germany. Ian, guten Morgen, or Morgen, as you just tell me normally.
Ja. Ja, schönen guten Morgen, Lee. Wie geht es dir? Alles klar?
Good, no, I know how to say good.
So,
Good, ja. Wie geht's? Ja.
Ja. Mir geht's gut und selbst?
Entschuldigung.
Entschuldigung.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, listen, I should put that word, like that sticker when you got like when you buy electronic products and it says Achtung. Yeah, warning. So I should put that sticker when you come on this podcast because it's always
in black, in yellow and black.
Aye. But Ian, how are you, mate?
I'm doing all right. I celebrated my wife and I celebrated our wedding anniversary on Thursday. So this week I've just been topping up from the weekend. I think I'm finally starting to sober up. I'll have a couple of beers tonight in front of the telly. You can guarantee that.
Good man.
But,
well, congrats to you both. I don't know how she's managed to put up with you for so long.
40 years, mate.
40 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. And the final guest
I've tried my best to fuck her off, but you'll have it.
well, listen. At the end of the podcast today, we're going to talk about some of like the season's highlights on the podcast, and I think you're up there with the first one. Especially when you made your debut on the podcast. Fucking hell, mate. Anyway, I'll save that for later.
I was shitting bricks on that.
You made me shit bricks as well when you fucked off halfway through it.
I'm talking to that, I'm going to have to fuck up. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Oh.
I know. Right, and the last person is Anth. Anth is in Alice Springs in Australia as well. Two down unders today, two Aussies. How are you, Anth? Good evening to you.
Oh, good evening, mate. Good evening. Good morning, wherever you are.
Bilbao.
Mate, I am.
Yep.
Yeah. God, it still hasn't sunk in. By the way, like just a decade of pain and suffering, and then I don't know. If you told me that, like the last 5 games at the end of the season, we're going to smash Coventry and Sheffield United out of the playoffs, I don't know. Like. I'm just still buzzing. Still hasn't sunk in. We're Premier League. Yeah. I'm excited as fuck.
I tell you
it's
what,
going to be a good year ahead.
You say there, right, that if someone had told me 5 games before the end of the season we were going to go up, you should have been talking to Dermot because Dermot was the most optimistic out of all of us.
I was telling you we were going to go up. All the morning because we were losing pointless games. I kept telling you we were going up. No, I mean, look, no, I didn't know either. It was just something in the water. But yeah, as Anth says there, it is hard to believe that it all ended as it did, because it was like the perfect ending, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, yeah. So Chris, then, I mean, for you, it must have been what, a very late evening kickoff, right?
Yeah.
And then about 12 o'clock
1
or
a.m.
8
kickoff.
o'clock?
Yeah, 1 a.m. Yeah.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then, so about celebrations like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah. I was pacing around the lounge at like 3 a.m. just like with my hands on my head, just going, "Will you just blow the fucking whistle? Just for the love of God!" I was literally just pacing around the living room, going, "Will you just blow the whistle?" Because it was like 105 minutes or something. I'm like, "Will you just blow the bastard whistle?" Yes. So yes, it was a long night.
Yeah. And Anth, I imagine a similar time for you.
Oh yeah, we're only half an hour behind, but I think you've got the fortunate position of my entire time of watching the game is on YouTube. So minute by minute, you can see my frustration. When the Sheffield second goal went in and it got ruled out as offside, there was like that confusion of VAR and it going our way, and I was like, we've got to capitalize on this. That is a gift horse. So. Yeah, the last couple of minutes, Tommy Watson, of all people, to score his swan song goal, unreal, buzzing,
Yeah. I mean,
jumping
Dermot,
around, pissed out my skull.
I bet. Dermot, I mean, you had your daughter's graduation, which was like roughly around the same time, I think, or something like that. I mean, did you manage to catch any of the match live?
Yeah, I got the whole match. It was, if I was going to miss anything, it was. I better say this quietly, because she's sleeping in the room next door. If I was going to miss anything, it was my daughter's graduation. So I was just glad that it didn't go extra time, because the graduation started at 6 and the match finished here at 6, supposedly, if it went in 90 minutes. So for me, it was perfect that we just got it out of the way without the extra time. Same for Chris and Anth in Australia. Chris would have been up till 4 o'clock pacing around his room. We just didn't want extra time, did we? So it was just perfect when Tommy Watson just slid that one into the corner, and I was straight out the door. I had a house full of Magnums, basically. Everyone from Sunderland in Madrid was in my front room, and there was a lot of celebrating going on, and. But I had to get out, so I just left them. I just said, "Shut the door on your way out. I'm off to my daughter's graduation. What a day!" And then I got in the car for about 20 minutes in Madrid, had a 20-minute drive, and stuck Radio Newcastle on, listened to Gary Bennett going on about it all, live from Wembley, and then straight into my daughter's graduation, which is a bit of a downer after the high of that. But there you go. Anyhow, no, it was good. It was a lovely day, and I managed to get both things done. Like London buses, massive occasions, both turning up at the same time on a Saturday. So it all worked out great for me. But thanks to no extra time. If there was extra time, I would have been in trouble.
Yeah. Well, Ian, I mean, just going back to the night before Trafalgar Square, because you were actually there. Well,
Yeah.
mind you, the police wouldn't fucking let you in, but didn't they, by the
No.
time you got there?
Now they saw what's coming.
But every time we do go to Wembley, we do take over Trafalgar Square. And I think it just gets better every time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I would say that the best one was before Man City, 2014. That was just brilliant. That was the first time that we really, really, really took over Trafalgar Square. That was excellent. And from that came this the iconic picture of the young Ben with the Sunlun flag across his chest.
Yeah.
I didn't see him, but I was supposed to meet some lads in the Moon Under the Water. It's Weatherspoon's pub right on Trafalgar Square. And I managed to get in, but my mates didn't. So I was sitting there supping away, and they were outside trying like hell to get in. So I came out and met them up. And it was starting to get dark by then. We went up to Trafalgar Square. And that was the first time that Sunderland fans had actually had flares in their hand. And because of it getting dark, that was really spectacular. This time, as I said, as you alluded to, I couldn't get it. Well, we got to the police cordon, but that was it. There was a police cordon right around Trafalgar Square. You couldn't get onto the square itself. because it was chock-a-block. And whereas in 2014 there was families there was blokes there that were playing footy. You know, how the hell do you play footy in the middle of a packed Trafalgar Square? You know, but it was going on. But this time, what I saw of it, I mean, I wasn't elevated like I was in 2014. I was at the back of Trafalgar Square. I could look over it. This time we were down on the bottom, so just looking over heads. There seemed to be an awful lot of young lads there, or young people anyway, and flares going up all the time, even though it was still daylight. It was different, but it was still a brilliant atmosphere. And I don't know if anybody, obviously, you've seen it on Facebook, for a repeat for the people who may be listening to this. An American tourist stopped a Sunderland supporter and said, "You guys won anything?" And the Sunderland supporter says, "No, we'll play it tomorrow." Oh.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, I mean, there was that, the American tourist thing, and there was also like the Napoli fans that came out.
I
And,
didn't see any of them, mate.
The Napoli fans were
But,
coming out to celebrate the Serie A title, and they were singing like "Napoli, Sunderland, Napoli, Sunderland." It was just so random, wasn't it?
That night was the start of the end of my legs over the weekend, because we were wandering from pub to pub and keep getting messages on WhatsApp from mates. "Oh, we're in this pub, we're in that pub." And we had to find the buggers first. I mean, we ended up in the Roundhouse, which I knew, in Covent Garden, direct opposite the Tesco Express, which was empty by then. It didn't have anything left in it. I don't know why they were open. It had no left to sell. But no, it's about for 11 o'clock, past 11 by the time I made my way back to the hotel. And I was staying in a hotel in Heathrow, Terminal 5, because on Sunday morning I was flying at 5 to 7 in the morning. But I'll come to that later, how I managed that. I did manage it, but God knows how. But Tuesday night, Friday night was just, it was expected. Haven't lived it before, haven't seen it before. It was expected.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
Chris, I don't know if you've seen the video as like going on social media of like a top 4 podcast. It's called. It's got like 5 or 6 Londoners on, and they like basically like big up the Sunderland fans. They were absolutely everywhere in London, and one of the guys says like, "Bro, I've never seen Champions League team or playoff team fans there the day before the match, the day on the match, and the day after the match with their shirts on." He said, like, never seen that before in London. That fills you with pride, doesn't it?
Right. I mean, we're all as mad as a box full of frogs. But I mean, I heard there was a lot of stuff that I heard was about how nobody saw any Sheffield United fans. Like, there was just none around. It wasn't until they got to the ground that they saw any. Like, apparently it was just Sunderland everywhere. Like, it's just, like, we do it every time. We do it every single time, and it's incredible. The support for this club is just next level.
Yep. Paul, you finally joined us. What have you finished your session?
I do apologise. No, my computer broke today. It was looking bad yesterday. Today it got even worse, and I had to go and get it sorted out because I've got work after this as well online. So that's why I'm late. And I literally
you got your computer fixed like in a couple of hours?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good with computers. I built my computer, but this thing was just shutting down. You know, when your computer shuts down, that's not a good sign. It's like a major problem. Well, so I went out to get it sorted, and now I'm here.
That's
delighted.
Top quality service in Thailand, that, isn't it? Like, right. Yeah. I told you, listen, Paul, I was telling like before we came on air, right? I said, listen, if you want to describe Paul, he's like mixing Mentos with Coca-Cola. So you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
Mentos with Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Have you ever tried that experiment?
I've never tried that experiment.
Okay, do it, but like, make sure you stand a bit back, okay? Yeah. Yeah. So, Anth, I mean, listen, I was kind of confident going into it. I was quietly confident, as I have been with the last couple of finals. But it almost didn't look good, didn't it, after a minute, when Anthony Patterson had to pull off that worldie, and sadly Luke O'Nien like suffered that freak injury. Did that kind of put a downer on you and make you kind of wonder, like, oh shit, this might not go our way?
No, I think I was like you at the start, and anyways, going into the game before the first, like, the whistle was blown. Like, We were the underdogs. We've got nothing. Well, we've obviously got the Premier League to lose, but nobody's overly like putting too much emotional investment in this season. Has to be our Premier League season. So Pato making that save and Luke O'Nien, how did he break his? Like he just pushed into Kiefer Moore a bit weird, right? And his arm dislocated. Apart from Luke O'Nien getting that incident, I still felt like it was us to defend well. We were going to be bombarded, and it was about the quality and how well we manage against that. So, yes, it was a telltale sign of how the first half went, but the fact that it only ended 1-0 at half time was again, we've done it against Coventry the other week. We come back into games. If we've got the drive and determination, as long as we don't drop our heads, we've got a solid set of players who just love the game. So, no, I was still very optimistic that we could do it, but I wasn't overly. I wasn't going to like cry for weeks and weeks if we didn't win.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, I was still got like that. Oh, how do we go? How do we grow? Because again, underdogs. Whenever an underdog wins, happy times.
Yeah. Dermot, I mean, I had Paul on the podcast the other day, Paul from Southport, and he was saying that when Luke O'Nien got injured, he said he sensed it was bad immediately, but he said that if there was one person you'd want, not in a bad way, to get injured, it'd probably be in that starting level, it'd be Luke O'Nien, because you've got Chris Mepham on the bench to come straight in. I don't know, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I did. I remember thinking when it happened, I thought, Luke O'Nien, okay, but we have got Mepham to come on. And I think we talked about it before the final as well. That could have been potential centre-half pairing anyhow, Mepham and Ballard. And you got to give kudos to Chris Mepham, because he probably wasn't warmed up. He didn't, you probably sat there thinking, I'm not getting on today at all. And he came on straight away, second minute, and put in a great performance. But yeah, it was a kind of a quiet confidence that everyone seemed to have. We all thought we had a chance of winning it, but it started going wrong from the kickoff, basically, didn't it? And it just slowly built up to that second goal going in, and then everyone was like thinking, "Oh God, that was it." And VAR rescued us and gave us a second chance, and then from there we never looked back. I think even at the end of the first half, we were a better team. We had the ball the last 10 minutes of the first half. There was loads of extra time in the first half, and the commentators on the TV were saying Sunderland will be happy to go in one goal down here, and I was like saying, well, we've had the ball for the last 10 minutes. We were attacking them, so I think before half time there was already signs that we were back in the game. And then the second half was a different story altogether. But yeah, VAR, I'm sure we're going to talk about that now if you want to go on and discuss that, because it was VAR that saved our last life basically, because of 2-0 down, we would have been finished.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, when they scored that goal, to be fair, it was a well-worked goal, wasn't it? But from our point of view, it was defensively conceding from our own corner. I was just like screaming at Chris Mepham to get a yellow card, just like bring him down. But that when that goal went in, it didn't take away the optimism that I had. I thought we still could get back into the game. What about you? When that goal went in, did you think, "Oh shit, that's it, that's done"?
No, not at all. I just thought, again, it's the opposition where every single moment of the move came off for them. Just like in the last 5 or 6 games, I started to get a bit cynical. You're gonna have to forgive me for that. But I'm like, wow, these goals are just like, if that was slightly out just by a centimetre, it's not a goal, and everything just bloody clicks. I'm like, it's just typical Sheikh Stadium bad luck type curse. Anyway, not at all, because I think I don't know. I believe we were going to win, Lee. I told you that before the semi-final. Are the other guys here? Were they equally as confident, sir?
Yeah,
I said we're going to win it. We're going to win it because we're not. It's not. Everything suggests we're not going to win it. We have, terrible form going into the semis, and only Sunderland would just flip that, and then we go and win the bloody competition. Yeah, but the VAR Well, the ref ruled it out. So, did he make a mistake? Did the ref make a mistake? I mean, were there legitimate grounds for disallowing the goal? There must have been.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was like Ian. I think it was the defender, no, where the forward was in front of
He
Patterson,
was
the
down
line.
there like that with his
But,
bloody head, man.
I mean, Ian, when that disallowed goal went in, I didn't assume offside at all. It didn't even cross my mind.
No, I had no idea. First of all, I had no idea what was going on because I've forgotten all about VAR. I haven't gone through the entire season and the semi-finals without VAR. All of a sudden, it reared its ugly head. Only its head wasn't ugly on Saturday, thank God for us. When that went in, Martin and I, my mate from the German Black Cats, put next together, or sat next together, we looked at each other and we thought, that's it, we're fucked. You know, there's no way we're coming back from this. But then, having seen it again, I didn't see it during the game. They might have put it on the big screens, but I wasn't looking at the big screens. I was looking at the ref and waiting for his decision. But there are offside players in front of Pato. Whether Pato had got anywhere near the ball or not, I don't know, because it was sweetly struck. It really was, and it flew in. And it looked to me as though Pato was going to his right first, and the ball went into his left. But I mean, there again, he couldn't see where exactly it was coming from. So to me, it was the right decision, regardless of what Chris Wilder, the fucking arsehole, says. You know, I mean, if ever there was a manager to hate greatly, it's fucking Chris Wilder. My fucking God, man. Anyway, once the referee said there's no goal, that lifted us. That gave us one hell of a lift. And as Dermot said, the last 10 minutes of the first half, we were coming back into it. In the second half, we were a completely different team to the first half. The start of the game, I honestly thought it was a great save from Pato, but I thought it might have gone over the line. You know, it was that close, and that in the first minute. I mean, you know. But we weathered the storm, and we came back, and I was more confident for the Wigan game. I thought there was no way we could lose the Wigan game. The Sheffield United game was in a knife edge. You know, as I say, when the second goal went in before it was ruled out, I was looking at another year in the Championship.
Yeah. Dermot, you want to come in there?
I was just going to say about the offside decision. I think because there was a player either side of Patterson, because one stepped across him, that was the defining thing, wasn't it? That's what I think. Unless anyone has any other ideas, that's what made it offside. Because if you're interfering with the goalkeeper in an offside position and his sight, then you're offside. And the fellow on the left stepped across Patterson, and that's what made it clear that when the referee went to see it, it was offside. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, I would say that if those two blokes who were in offside position had been out of the corner flag, it would never have been given offside. But because they were in front of Patterson, because they were interfering with his vision, it was offside.
Yeah, but I'm just going to do it here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Would Pato have been able to make that save a lot more cleaner if those two players weren't even involved in that centre pinball area? Like,
I think it would have got closer.
I think he would have been able to see it sooner and potentially dive the right way straight away instead of going right-left. He would have just went immediately left. So I think obstruction from two offside players is the play. You can pick either one, but you can't be offside and you can't block the goalkeeper's view. It's the same when a corner comes in and the player's right on the goalkeeper's body, because they all want to jostle for that position. They always give the keeper the benefit of the doubt. So technically, by the rules, VAR did its thing. If that was during the league, though, it would have stood as 2-0. So count our lucky stars. Little bit of a fun fact: it's our second ever game with VAR in it. Wycombe was the first. This is our second, and it's the first time it's been called into action, and it's gone in our favour. So a lot of those kind of decisions are going to be going in our favour next season. You know, the ones where
Don't
you're
think
just
so.
like, oh, I think so. I think Luke O'Neill needs to be very, 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 very careful. But I think a lot of our decisions might go our way now.
Yeah. Well,
And if we become set piece specialists, which we can, we'll be all right.
And then the funny thing was watching it on TV. I don't know if you got this in the stadium. Is this like a new experiment? The referee came away from the screen and he had a microphone and he explained.
Yeah.
He explained the whole thing, and on TV you could hear the referee clearly say what it was. Could you hear that in the stadium?
Yeah.
I think that's been coming for a long time. I think that should have been in the game bloody years ago.
Yeah, no,
so there's no confusion. We're the fans in the stadium, right? To use Ian's special words. I would, if I'm a fan, I mean, I'd want to hear it. Like, why is the ref called that? Like, what's he called that for? Instead of you standing around shouting at each other in the crowd when I used to go. And that's what everyone's arguing with each other. Whereas if the ref's there, you can hear the ref and he's given a decision and what the decision is. You can argue about that, but at least you can bloody hear it. Oh.
I mean, listen, the Sunlun fans didn't even let him finish his sentence because as soon as he said Sheffield United player, that was it. We knew it was offside.
Yeah.
And there's just a massive cry erupted. But it's funny we're talking about this because there's that ex-referee, isn't there? Roger Hackett, I think he's not Roger or something. Keith Hackett, I think he's called.
Yeah.
Former referee.
Keith Hackett.
Yeah. And he was saying that he thought it shouldn't have been this loud. Because he's
a clown.
Yeah, he says that basically when the ball is struck, although the player is in offside position, he's not directly in the line of sight of Patterson at that moment, but he does move across eventually. So I don't know, Chris. I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, I think it was rightly ruled out. Like, I think in hindsight, when he looked at the VAR, when you watch the replay, you were like, yeah, he's got to disallow that. When it went in, my heart sank. Like, I thought that was it at 2-0. I thought it was game over. But it was rightfully ruled out. And I kind of, as much as I'll agree with Ian, we dislike Mr. Wilder. I get his point about, like, we haven't had VAR all season, then suddenly it stitched us up. Because that in the Championship, that goal would have stood. You know, the linesman didn't see it, the ref didn't see it. It would have been given. It would have, there would have been 2-0, and that would have been it. So I get his point. I don't give a damn, but I get his point. But it was rightfully ruled offside. Like, it shouldn't have stood. Patterson couldn't see the ball when it was struck. The player was in an offside position. Like, it was the right decision. And I don't have any sympathy for him, but I do see Mr. Wilder's point.
Yeah.
Well, we were told, both teams were told before the game that VAR will be in operation. So they can't bitch about the fact that it's there. And
it's Wilder, isn't
it? They said, it wasn't Lee, it was Anth. It said it was used against in the Wickham game, and that was 4 years ago. So they've been using it ad infinitum since it came in.
Yeah.
Regarding the referee explaining his decision, I know here in Germany, I don't know what the situation is in the UK. They ran a few tests here in Germany for important games like the German Cup final and what have you. As of next year, in the first and second division, the referees are going to be mic'd up and they're going to explain every decision that's made in VAR. And I suspect that will be coming in the Premier League at least, because VAR still hasn't got down to the Championship for some reason or other. So as Chris said, it will bring clarity. You know, we want to know what the hell's going on. So let us know. Sorry, that was Paul that said that. We want to know what the hell's going on. In the past, what I've seen in TV, they've put the decision up on a big screen. There's a few football fans on cable are reading, apparently. You know?
Not after 10 pints.
So there's hell on.
Yeah.
But the hockey's got it, tennis has got it, rugby's got it, American football's got it. I mean, they've all got it, and this is one of the biggest sports in the world, football, like any kind of football.
They have it in the Spanish second division, and I don't ask me why I know this, but they have it in the Portuguese second division as well. So why do you know that? Because I've actually commentated some Portuguese second division football. That's how I know. And they had VAR on it, and So why haven't they got it in the Championship? All this money, they've had it in Spain.
It'll
Spain
come.
and Portugal for years.
It'll come down. It'll come in the Championship.
But didn't they say as well though that like some Championship teams haven't got the facilities to accommodate VAR? I was like, what tosh is that?
Oh, bollocks.
No, that is utter tosh because Luton Town went up to the Premier League and they had it installed. They had the worst stadium I've ever seen in the Championship.
Hello.
That is a load of tosh. That is an excuse city. If it's about money, the Premier League can pay for the entire EFL to have VAR. If it's going to be one rule for one game and not for the other, that's where I get the discourse. But VAR, the way it was implemented at that Wembley game was perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. But normal play corrected because it's the right thing by the unfolding of the moment.
Yeah.
So that's what you want. You don't want decisions that are wrong staying wrong. That's when it starts to get a little bit. What are you doing? What's the point?
Yeah, and well, going back to the Luton point, I mean, they probably had VAR installed in someone's bathroom, didn't they? Like, no, in their stadium. But Paul, did that disallowed goal just like totally like turn the tide of the game? Like, basically, I mean, because we had a bit of bad luck before that. Like, they got the corner because it just bounced off Chris Mettman and went out. And then the corner came in, I think it was Ballard got his head in it, and I was like just celebrating Ballard getting it. And all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, he whacks that goal in. They're celebrating. I'm just like accepting defeat now. I'm like, it's over, fair enough. We've tried. And all of a sudden, when the decision comes, you could just see the roar from the Sunderland fans, and you could see the despair on the Sheffield United players and the silence from their fans. And I think it's like moments like that in the game, Paul, that just like totally changed the dynamic of the game, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't know how long it was before the goal going in. They're celebrating to the VAR decision that needs to be made. I suppose from when the goal went in, to when the players or the ref is going over to the VAR area, what, 20 seconds, 15 seconds? Anybody know? But I mean, I was no longer watching. I was just frozen in a moment, because some of the others have said, I was not going to be heartbroken if we didn't win this game of football. I'm all right with the Championship. It means we can win some games. I'm not that bothered about going to the Premier League, the bloody brutal bloody thing that it is. But I think we were playing pretty well anyway in the second half. He definitely did something was said because they definitely were better. And it seemed more that they're clicking a lot more. And then we're seeing it, and then they get this bloody opportunity, and the ball goes out, and then this guy, who was he, centre-back, probably was a centre-back, probably he's never scored ever. And he just smashed in his perfect goal. What are the chances?
Yeah, what are the chances? And, I mean, the second half, right, I said before the game and on the podcast leading up to it that I didn't want to see us go too attacking because I thought like the subs would be key. So I didn't want to see us play Mayenda, and they said, I wanted either one or the other because it would be key to have one on the bench. People were saying like, play Mundell on the left and play Mayenda on the right. Is up top. I didn't want that, and in the end, our subs were the ones that turned the game. Especially like Roberts, Watson, Isidore came on. 3 attacking changes. He went for it, and it bloody worked, didn't it?
It did indeed, and I think it's a little bit of like natural, like Sheffield United at that moment. They're in the lead. All they need to do is not concede. We've done it time and time again this season where we just drop back naturally. We keep dropping back, and if Sunderland had got a lot more freedom to push forward, we will punish teams, and that's where those substitutions, those fresh legs come in and get that extra half a yard. They get that little bit of extra like inch to get the cross in properly. And you could see it building up more and more throughout that second half. Chris Wilder dropping further back, trying to keep his players with the legs, trying to get them to the 90 minutes. And then just Meander's goal.
Yeah. I think they got knackered out, didn't they?
We just overworked them. We had the ball, and when we had the ball, we were smart and fast with it. And they couldn't cope because we're pushing up in like a classic. We worked as a team, and they were working as individuals. And I think one of the moments, which again you'll not really like hear a lot on other podcasts, is just the the slide tackles. Hume's just absolute wipeout, like that kind of moment.
What was that?
Get the fans behind you with those slide tackles. That's what Sunderland are about. Put your heart into it, and if you get the fans behind you, you've got a 12th man on the pitch all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, plus mate.
Go on, David.
I was just going to say, what was the score when Hume did that tackle?
What's the
Was it
piece?
1-1?
Was it 1-1?
It was 1-1. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there you go. And then that give us a bit of momentum to go and get the winner at the end. The equaliser goal, I think we're up to that bit now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Was a beautiful piece of play. Every pass in there, I think Tommy Watson starts it by bringing the ball down in the middle of the pitch. But Enzo Lafay's little knock to Paddy Roberts was inch perfect. It was quick and fast. Paddy Roberts' pass to Mayenda was absolutely brilliant. And
Why doesn't he do it more often? Why doesn't he do it more often? What is the thing with Paddy Roberts, man?
Because he
was in the middle of the park for a start. Paddy Roberts, yes,
he wasn't
correct, central.
He wasn't stuck out on the right wing in the final. He came in
His left foot, and he held it across the back foot.
Yeah,
he's a frustrated player.
But going back to what Lee said about the subs, all of the subs were excellent. I mean, I've bollocked Labrie throughout the season for not bringing any subs on, or when he's brought them on, they just haven't done anything at all. But everything he did on Saturday was excellent. And the best one was taking Neil off. Neil was having a shocker. And when he took Neil off, Lafay was able to drop a bit deeper, and he started dictating that game. Lafay pulled us through whatever silliness, like Dennis Serkin deciding to let the ball bounce 3 times, and their lad jumped in and back with, thank God, for his left foot to it. That would have been 2-0 again. And Hume's tackle, I mean, I love that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not alone. I mean, the noise that came out of our end when he hit Cameron Diaz, when he sliced him in two.
The famous, beautiful actress.
Fuck's sake, that was just, and that was just brilliant. That lifted everybody. It was just, and I shouted to Lee because Diaz took about 5 minutes to get off the ground. I shouted to Lee, who was four rows in front of us. I said, "He fucking killed him!" And everybody fell out laughing around. But that was the moment that was getting even more involved in it. I mean, obviously the goal lifted us, but after that there was only one winner. Sheffield United just disappeared. I never heard their fans during the whole game. When Diaz was lying on the ground, we started chanting, "Your support is fucking shit."
Yeah.
Never a truer word spoken. It was just that was the moment I thought, "Oh fuck, I'm going to do this." Yeah. I didn't know how. I didn't want it to go to extra time, not because like Dermot, we thought it was going to graduation or anything like that. I just didn't want to go through another half an hour of that because my blood pressure would never have stood it. I'll tell you.
But Chris, on that goal, I mean, it was great play. Everything. I mean, Paul mentioned before, you need a bit of luck with certain touches. You need everything to go your way by a centimetre. There was the touch from Job, the touch from Watson, the pass from Lafay, the pinpoint pass from Roberts, and in Mayenda's finish, I mean, he's left-footed, but he actually controls the ball away from his left foot, on his left foot, one touch, and on his right foot, his weaker right foot, blasts into the top corner. I mean, and you saw his celebration. What I liked about his celebration is that he looked so calm.
Yeah.
No chance of me doing that.
I don't get that. Why? I want to see him going freaking nuts. I mean, a young man, was he 19? Why isn't he absolutely going apeshit?
I'd have been on the roof.
I mean, he fizzed it, didn't he? He fizzed it. I don't know if he side-footed it or he just kind of toe-punted it or what. How are you not jumping around screaming your bloody head off? You just
Because
scored
he's
at
got
Wembley.
20 more minutes
He's
to play. He
like,
can't get too overhyped. But anyway, Chris, go on. I'll give you your
I
say.
detect a whiff of arrogance, sir, from the young meander.
He was like at the end of the semi though, because I don't know if you guys
Yep.
noticed when he went off at the end of the semi, like all the rest of the lads are jumping up and down, and he's going, yeah, no, it's all right. Like he's 19, and he was just,
He was looking for his
No,
sunglasses.
19.
yeah, he's there looking for his sunnies. He's just the coolest man in the stadium. He's just, I mean, and where he's given that he went on loan to Hibs, and they were like, yeah, and then he came like this season. He's like a different. I don't know what's happened to that kid. I mean, keep doing it. I don't know if it's Weetabix or what, but he's just on the next level. This season he's been incredible, and he terrifies defenses when he runs at them. You can see defenders going, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" And then he's past them, and he's just having a crack. He's a fantastic player.
Did he get double figures? You're gonna have to excuse me. I'm no data analyst. Did he only get double figures? Because I think
No.
I think he
Oh, I
got
didn't
double
think
figures
so.
in goals and
Izzy did,
assists.
didn't he? Izzy got more than 10. I think 11 or 12.
Yeah, I think he's got 10.
Yeah, and I think Mayenda got over 10, but in assists as well.
Ah.
Dermot, when that goal went in, then I mean, well, just before that goal went in, I watched the match back on the Sky Sports feed, I think it was, and just before that counter attack started, like the commentators were saying, Sheffield United are 15 minutes away from the Premier League, and all of a sudden, Lafig picks up the ball and they said, "But someone might have something to say about that," and then Mayenda whacks it in. So it was just like basically instant justice or instant karma. No commentators curse that it would happen like that. But if you saw the reaction, the Sheffield United players, like they put their shirt over their heads. The Sheffield United fans that in the crowd, you had the cameras on them. They had their heads in their hands. You could sense that was a massive moment, and that they felt defeated from that moment on, I think.
Yeah, I think it was always coming. I think we'd had a good spell. It was, that we played well that second half. They'd had that one chance that Pato made a save, but it was always there was a quiet confidence still about that. We had in my house we had two lads who were from Sunderland in Madrid, and their wives and kids, and the house was quite full. And then another fella who I know in Madrid got in touch because his dad's from Sunderland. He's a Liverpool fan, but his dad's from Sunderland. And he said, "Can I come over and watch it?" And he came over, and he just, he obviously loves Sunderland because his dad's from Sunderland, but he doesn't know the team. He hasn't been following them all season, and he likes a bet. And he had his phone out, and he said, "Sunderland are we were losing 1-0. He said, "Sunderland are 7-1 to win this, or Sunderland are 7-1 to go up." And after about an hour when we were 1-0 down, and he said, "Are you going to get back into it?" And I just like said, "Yeah, we'll score here. We'll definitely score. Get your money on." And he put I think he put 20 quid on at 7-1.
Nice.
And about 5 minutes later, my ender scored. But I wasn't being a soothsayer or predictor or anything. I just had a quiet inner knowledge that we still had a goal in us at that stage in the game. And he looked at all of us. He said, "Are you going to get back into this?" And I said, "Yeah, we'll definitely score." And we did. And then I wasn't predicting the second one as well. But so he left a happy man because he was 150 quid up. He only came for the second half.
Did he leave you a tip?
He didn't. No. I gave him the tip. I said, "We'll definitely score." And we did, and it was a great goal. It was a well worked goal, and I think we've all mentioned it now, haven't we? But Paddy Robertson's pass is, if you watch it again, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, inch perfect.
Well, did you see the goal last night from PSG? One of the goals. There was a similar type of move where one of their lads passed the ball through. I think it was to Doué, I think it was called, and it was a very similar pass. And Rio Ferdinand and McCoy on BT, they were absolutely like creaming over it, right? And the finish, as soon as he finished it basically slid it past the keeper on the floor. And the first thing I said was, "That's not my ender." It's like, but Anth, talking about those subs, and we've touched them before, it was very, very brave from Lebris, one, to take off your captain in a final, even though he didn't have a good game, and he admitted that. I think he said he was like cramping up and everything. But two, to bring on Tommy Watson, 18-year-old, who basically has had like an up and down season, hasn't he? Because of the way he came in, the injury, but then the news that he was like leaving to Brighton. His 3 performances after that, because he played crap. Where, let's be honest, he played crap after that announcement was made. He got dropped. Didn't have much playing time, so it was very brave from Lebris to put his trust in him, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one of those things where this player has a lot of talent. From Lebris' standpoint, and maybe just like factually, it's a local lad for a local lad, so you still get a local hero. So you'll not get those kind of fans who go, well, why did you take out the local lad for a foreign player or player doesn't get the club? So maybe that's why he's chose Watson to directly replace Dan Neil. Don't know, but again, like it's not a like for like swap. It's a more attacking minded, free flowing swap. And like you said, his form was off. So you've got to just consider like, what's the main reason for that? Because obviously you've got the training camp, the pre-match build-up. He can see how much quality and how ready he is for that moment. But if his last 3 performances are still halfway, I'm on my way to Brighton, it is just purely, let's throw the wild card in there. That's how I'm seeing it. Going all in and seeing what happens. So luckily, Watson's a professional, and I think that's made abundantly clear just by how he performed as soon as he came on the pitch. He wasn't sulking, he wasn't shying away from passes, he was asking for the ball pretty much every minute, which Dan Neil wasn't. So it was that more, you've got somebody who's
You don't
more
think he looks
ready.
a bit of a misery guts at times, though? Tommy Watson.
Yeah, if you're looking at people who will always look miserable, have you ever seen Patrick Roberts?
You'd think they'd be full of life and joy. They're playing for Sunderland. I've just come on for Wembley. Just kind of nonchalant, staggering across the field. Oh, just over here. Okay.
But he is just a kid.
Though. He's a kid.
He is.
Yeah.
What is he, 17 or 18?
There was a great picture in the aftermath of the final. I don't know if anyone else saw it. Of Tommy Watson signing for Sunderland as a 6-year-old.
He's like 4-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus. Like, this is the guy who's just got us to the Premier League. He's just like literally in his tracksuit top. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can remember all the shit that was flying when the announcement was made that Watson was going to Brighton in the middle of the season, which is absolutely unheard of in the UK. I mean, we're used to this in Germany. We know in February that somebody's leaving Leverkusen and going to Bayern Munich at the end of the season, but they continue to play to the end of the season, and the fans accept that. Because it was unique in the UK, Tommy took a hell of a lot of shit. I think that affected his performances after it had been announced. God knows why it was announced then. They could have kept it under the hat till the end of the season, as far as I'm concerned. But there was one
deserved shit though. I mean, why would you? I mean, I'm going to argue. I think some of it was deserved shit. But I mean, I always get banned on the social. You know, the website we all go onto. I'm often banned on there. You have to excuse me. I do write things at times, which upset some of the feminist woke bloody board members of that thing. But no, I'll say it like it is, and I like what I bloody well say. So I mean, it did seem from the outside quite shocking that this young lad that we've developed for 12 years, 11 years, chooses to move at the very, very first opportunity. Yes, there's no guarantee we would get in the Premier League, but why? I mean, that's very to think. Well, I've just broken into the first team. I deserve to be in the Premier League next season. I mean, well, hang on. Where's the loyalty here? That's my feeling. Well, where's the loyalty there then?
Well, I don't think it's that, mate. I don't think it's that at all.
No.
Go on, Ian. You jump in.
So sorry, I was just going to say it's not the first opportunity. Apparently, he signed a new contract 2 years ago, and he was very reluctant to sign that. He's been wanting away for some time. I don't know what's going on in his head. He's been wanting away for some time. But to go back to the situation after it was announced, I can remember watching. I have no idea who.
Like the KFC chicken, that's what it is.
Yeah, but Frankie and Danny Collins were talking about the situation, and Danny turned around and said, "Well, if he scores the winner at Wembley, nobody's going to give a toss." And what happened? You know, who gives a toss?
Paul gives a toss.
Thanks for the 10 million.
I'm mostly giving a toss, most of the time.
I think, listen, personally speaking, I think that he was good. He was very close to leaving in January, wasn't he? He travelled down to Brighton. But we couldn't get a replacement apparently, so the plug got pulled on it. So we kind of expect that he was going to be leaving anyway, right? But yeah, I think the timing of it pissed off most. But I didn't have any problem with him leaving. It was just like the timing of it. But then I wasn't going to kind of like boo him and criticize him, but I did think that if he's going to play for the rest of the season, he needs to kind of show that he gives a shitting. And I think for the first 3 games after that was announced, he didn't. He had a game against, I think it was Bristol City, where he was like shying out of tackles and things like that.
He didn't do a thing. He didn't strike a bat against Bristol City. But
the thing is, he started those 3 games straight after it was announced, and he didn't show anything, and that kind of like made him get dropped from the team. So I think, did he deserve some criticism? I think so, yeah. But at the end of the day, he's kind of redeemed himself and he's made himself a hero. And I think
totally redeemed himself.
You just have to. No, you just have to basically
famous line.
Sorry, Paul threw me off there a little bit, but I understand it completely from Tommy's perspective. He was our 3rd choice left winger. That's his number 1 position. When Clark left, again, 15 million, you chose Mundell as his number 1. Like, if he's an out-and-out left winger, he's got the quality, and he feels like he is definitely professional enough to start in a number of Premier League sides. And if Brighton's got that gap, I can't see why, logically, from him and his agent, his family, just his professional career, why that isn't a logical move. It pisses a lot of people off, and it pisses me off as well that he'd rather leave his boy a club to do that. But I can't begrudge him, because I would say, well, if we've got to wait another 2 years before we get our next opportunity to get promotion, and he wants first team football, you've got to let the lad do it. The shitty ways to do it, announcing it early, fully putting your intentions out there before the even season's over, makes no sense. It might be a German thing, but it's not a British thing. I get that, but if he announced it after this game, we'd be like, "Oh, fair enough. Good luck. We'll see you in the Premier League next season." It's just purely about timing.
Who announced it? Well, because Sunlun, I think the club did, which is strange in itself. But anyhow, it was a strange situation. I agree with Anth. The lad got offered a Premier League contract. He played his cards a couple of months too early. Maybe he would get a similar contract now at Sunderland and stay at home and play for his boyhood club. Maybe he wanted to get away anyhow. Maybe he just wants to get away. Maybe he's one of these fellas who just wants to go play somewhere else. That's fair enough as well. But at the end of the day, it's a good job he didn't sign for Brighton in January, and he stayed and he hung around and registered. We stuck him on for the last 25 minutes, or would be here celebrating such a great victory.
Aye.
So,
well, Chris, I'm going to give you the first go on the goal. Before that, we had the Trey Hume tackle that I imagine it got you up off your couch.
That was amazing. Yep.
Yeah. And then the goal, I mean, we saw Paddy Roberts get the ball steamed forward. He lost it, and then Kiefer Moore played the worst layoff ever.
That was a great pass.
I know it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Slide rule.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as he picked up the ball, did you sense something was going to happen?
I did. I didn't see what he was going to do. I didn't see that coming at all. I thought he had the freedom of the centre of Wembley because, ironically enough, Sheffield United, those 2 players had clunked into each other and one of them went off with a concussion. So they were in the middle of making another substitution. So there was all that room in the middle of the pitch, which was point number 1. I didn't see him doing what he did. I thought he was going to play a through ball. I thought he was going to play a pass. And then even when it left his foot, I was just kind of going, oh, okay, that's probably going to go wide. When it nestled in the corner, I was up off the sofa, time of the morning be damned, running around the house, yelling like an absolute lunatic. I did not see it going in, but when it did, fucking hell, the noise was incredible. Even just on the TV, the noise was out of this world, and I couldn't believe it. If I'd had a heart rate monitor on or something, God knows what it would have been. It was comfortably in the 3 figures. I was just bouncing around the living room. Unbelievable scenes.
Dermot, where were you? Were you in the car driving to your daughter's graduation at that time?
No, I'll tell you where I was, right? I was on the toilet.
No way.
Getting bricks.
Unbelievable. No. I wasn't drinking because I was driving. I was getting prepared for the 90-minute full-time whistle. I thought, right, I'll go and have a quick. As the concussion went on with the Sheffield United players on the pitch, I thought, right, I'll go and have a quick slash. I didn't even need a slash. I wasn't even drinking. I thought I'll go and get ready for a full-time whistle so I can jump in the car. Even though I was going to stay around for extra time, so I didn't even need to go to the toilet. I sat on the toilet for I missed 30 seconds of the game. The 30 seconds was that goal. And I had the people in my front room. I sat in the toilet and just suddenly it erupted and everyone's jumping around. So for the second time in my Sunderland supporting career, I was at Hillsborough in 1992 when we played Norwich. And I was a young lad then and I was full of drink. And I went for a piss on the Spy on Cop and missed John Burns' winning goal when we won 1-0.
John Burns.
But I've just gone and done it again, sat in my own room, in my own house, without having a beer in my hand at all. I missed the goal. I was sat on the toilet.
Hey, Dermot, how would you feel about spending the Premier League season on the toilet? I'll pay you.
Well, that's it. That's it.
Out of a commitment, wouldn't it?
That's it. And last season, I went to 3 games and we lost all of them. So I was offered tickets and I said, no, I've got my daughter's graduation. I can't go. I'm staying away for the lads because I've seen them lose 3 times. So I was the curse last season.
Right,
I stopped in the house and I went for a piss at the right time.
Right, so we know what to do. Then every time Sunderland play with Dermot, put a laxative in his drink. Right. Do you know what though, Dermot? I think I went to the toilet at the same time, but I got back in time because
they were on the ground concussed for ages, weren't they? It was about 5 minutes stoppage, and I was sat watching it. Go, well, this is going on. They're not going to start anytime. I couldn't believe I'd literally gone for 30 seconds. I had a quick slash, and it all erupted in my front room. And
do you know what? I went to the toilet for their goal, for their first goal. I went to the toilet and I was coming down the steps to go back to my seat and they scored. And I thought, now I've got to ask fucking for permission to get back to my seat. And everyone was like saying, oh, for fuck's sake, oh man, hurry up and get fucking past, man, for fuck's sake. I was like, it's not my fault, mate, they scored. But then I went for a piss as well, because I mean, I must have downed I think I had 2 pints at half time in 15 minutes. I downed about 2 in 10 minutes before the match because I got there quite late. And so I got there just in time as we scored. But I don't know if you know Jeff on the podcast as well. He was actually in the toilet drying his hands. He's having a piss as well in the toilet. So he missed Tommy Watson's goal. So, Ian, the scenes.
He was in the stadium. He was in the stadium and he missed it.
Yeah,
I was in the stadium.
Well, I think quite a few people missed it as well. Ian, describe those moments for you when the Tommy Watson scored that goal.
Well, first of all, I was in my seat and I wasn't in the netty. I only had 1 pint before the game. I tried to get in the Premier Inn to meet you bugger, but you weren't there.
I didn't get in. No, I didn't get in.
But,
we Philly. Do you know we Philly? SAFC fancy. He smuggled me out a pint.
All right.
Because they weren't letting anyone drink on the street. So basically, he had a jack and he smuggled out a pint. He said, "Here, get that down here."
Yeah. That's nice of him anyway. The bastard never did that for me. As I say, I went in the stadium. I paid £7.50 for a fucking pint. I mean, good. But stood behind the goal, just slightly behind you, Lee. Saw Watson pick up the ball and advance towards the goal, and I thought, what's going on here? Because I saw all of our players just disappear. They were taking the defenders right out of it, and they were creating all sorts of space for Watson. And about 3 paces before I actually hit it, I'd have a go, but I thought it was going to be a screamer a la Mayenda. But that wasn't a shot, that was a pass. He passed the fucking ball into the corner of the net. And if you look at it from behind, it curves round the keeper, who was unsighted by his own defenders anyway. And it was just a thing of beauty. I mean, I started celebrating before it was even in. And the noise, I mean, okay, the noise came across the TV, but you had to be in there. I couldn't hear myself think. It was fucking incredible. I was hugging people I've never seen in my life before, and people falling over the seats. Lee coming up 4 rows to give us a hug. Sean and his dad in front of us. You've got half of bloody America stood next to us. Ireland was there. Bulgaria was there. I mean, that was a great thing. Chris Waters deserves a medal for putting it all in together there. That was brilliant. That was really great to see people who I've spoken to or communicated with on the podcasts, to meet them in the flesh. That was just the cream, the cherry on top of the cream on top of the cake. But that goal, I mean, when that went in, I knew we'd won it. Even though we played, I think, about another 10 minutes afterwards because of all the injuries and what have you, I knew we'd won it. And Sheffield United, they just didn't know what the fuck to do. They were trying passes, and the passes were going straight out of play. Then we had the head tennis moment between
Isidore and
Lafay, and Lafay got fouled at the end of it, and Lafay's celebration, that lifted us once again. That got us through the last 2 or 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. It was just so fucking good. The crowd was so on side with what Sunderland were trying to do. Mm-hmm. Never flagged at all. There wasn't a quiet moment in the entire game. I would say we did our bit, undoubtedly. Okay, the lads that were on the pitch won the game, but I think we helped a hell of a lot.
I'd agree
and
with
that's
that.
A great thing. That's a great thing about Sunderland supporters. We do that.
Yeah,
we can be bastards as well, mind.
Yeah.
But there was no chance of that happening at Wembley.
No,
I was going to say wouldn't be miserable buggers as well. Wouldn't be on that five defeats at the end of the season. I was at one of them, and people were miserable, Because
I was at the QPR game. That was fucking awful. I'll tell you, God, it's true. Terrible.
Well, even Regis was getting a bit of stick, wasn't he? I mean, putting 5 defeats in a row will do that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was on side with what he was trying to do. I mean, it was obvious we weren't going to get any higher than 4th. Nobody was going to catch us. Why not give everybody a game? And if we lose, so what? We ended up 18 points behind Sheffield United, but we still beat the bastards.
Yeah.
That'll do for me.
And I want to come to you because you might have seen this on social media if you're on Instagram. Tommy Watson. Yeah. So, like these players nowadays, when it's the off-season, they go with these independent coaches, or shooting coaches or finishing coaches one-to-one, and they do, drills. So, Tommy Watson put a post on of, him with his independent coach, and he was doing, basically one-on-one, and there was one clip of him scoring an identical goal as the one he scored at Wembley. So it just goes to show that practice does pay off, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Who do you think benefits the most from that kind of practice, though? Tommy Watson with that. Do you reckon, how many goals do you reckon Meander's scored like that? Because I'd say not a lot. He, like you said, he was off-footed on that. So, I don't, the social media side of it, just the players after that game, unreal. I didn't see the training one on Instagram, but I saw Luke O'Nine's post-match, thank you, Sunderland fans, again. The locker scenes, just Trafalgar, just so if you just turn on your phone and were looking for some good, positive Sunderland news, it was there, and it's still there today. It's class. It proper lifts up your weekend, but I haven't, like I said, when I came onto this, I still doesn't feel real. Just one whole week of positive Sunderland stories. It's when was the last time that happened?
No, exactly. I know.
That doesn't happen.
Ian, I remember at the end of the final whistle, when you eventually came down 3 rows to see me, you twat.
Right. It took some time, I know you
did. So you came down, you gave me a hug, and I remember the words that you said. You just said, Lee, this doesn't happen to us.
No, we don't do shit like that.
No.
It just doesn't happen. It happens to us, but we don't do that to other teams. Yeah. And that's gives me hope for the future, because we've stopped doing typical Sunderland. How often have we said in the past, it's typical Sunderland, where we've conceded a last-minute goal or something stupid really happened has happened to the club, even internally, like selling Madger for 2/3 of fuck all when he was worth about 10 million, stuff like that. I think we've turned the corner, honestly. I really do think we've done it. The problem with us, to go back to Dermot's comment about us being bastards. Well, I said we're bastards, but he agreed.
What buggers? Miserable buggers. Miserable buggers.
Yeah.
We want the commitment from the players that we show to them, and we want it now. But I think there's a certain amount of patience coming in to the fans, in that we believe in this 5-year plan that KLD said he was going to introduce. Okay, we're a year ahead of it now, but it's working. And the policy of Christian Speakman, who's driving it, to get in young lads, develop them and sell them on. So we've got a bit of money to buy other players. Brilliant. It's working. It's the first thing I've ever seen that's working at Sunderland for decades. In the past, we've just been panic buying, getting players in who don't want to be there. And
Will Greek.
It's working. I'm optimistic. For the first time in years, I'm optimistic. Now I've got to go and see where my wife is. I'll be back in a minute.
He's off again. No, but on that point, though, it's an interesting one because I remember listening to Graham Souness on Talk Sport. Must have been 2 years ago, I think, right? When we got to the semi-final of the playoff against Luton. And Graham Souness came on Talk Sport and he was like saying, yeah, it's wonderful. It's nice to see what Sunderland are doing, but it's not going to happen because like they're looking for the perfect nirvana, and you're not going to do it with kids. And we've proved them wrong, haven't we, Paul?
Gonna have to say yes. Certainly, half the team are young, aren't they? I mean, half the team are they're under 22, 23. Still think we overplayed our younger players this season. I still think we did that, but it's Joe, isn't it? Joe's the one that kicked off when he was interviewed, and he's like, UX players, and I don't know which ex-players he's referring to, Joe, but yeah, youth won the day. And if it had gone to extra time, they would have been probably better off than Sheffield. And yeah, it's quite amazing that team just did what they did.
That was like the youngest team in playoff history, I believe. So, Chris, we have to mention it because, like, for the last 2 playoff campaigns, we've used the same slogan till the end. Bloody hell, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, they took it to heart this time, didn't they? I mean, Dan Ballard, literal last touch of the game, and then Tommy Watson in the 95th minute. I mean, yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the fact that, again, we've done it with such a young squad, and it's, as Ian said, it's nice to see us having a plan. I know there's a lot of people, again, on a certain website that Paul was talking about, they're always having a whinge and there's always complaining and it's not good enough and Speakman's doing a crap job and all the rest of it. I think it's fantastic that we've now got
Gen Z, mate. That's Gen Z.
People get annoyed about the model, but I think it's great that we got a model. It's a fantastic one that we've got. And Dermot touched on it. We can be a bunch of miserable buggers. It feels like the second something goes wrong, the fans are up in arms and everybody's whinging. But the fact that they just keep going, I mean, there was a fairly late goal against Coventry as well in the first leg, second leg Ballard, and then the final. It was just the marketing team must be rubbing their hands.
Yeah. Right.
Well, whoever came up till the end, you should be getting bonuses on top of bonuses.
Well, and the media team at Sunderland, because they have triumphed over the last month or so with the content. Yeah. I think it's been top class. But Anth, we are a Premier League team now, and we have been talking about the model. And Ian mentioned before the style of play. Which, listen, I'm buying into that style of play because I spoke to Paul from Barcelona. He was at International Fans Day, and and Christian Speakman was basically telling the international fans that the way to play in the Premier League, if you're a new team going up, is to basically play a low block and hit teams on the counter. Because if you try and play on the front foot, or you try and play out from the back, as we've seen with Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich, it looks pretty on the eye, but when you get dispossession, it's 1-0, 2-0, and you're getting dicked. He said it just doesn't work. So the best chance is to play this kind of low block counter-attacking system, which I'm fine with that, but I think we need players who are more suited to that style. And I think we've managed to get through this season. The players have learned a lot. But looking towards the Premier League season, 220 million quid richer, I think we do need to splash a bit of cash, don't we?
We do definitely need to splash a bit of cash, but, and I'm going to say this very, very reluctantly, I don't want us to splash it on just anybody and everybody. It needs to be smart attacking, like swaps. You're looking at the gaps that we're creating, our big flaws last season, across the entire season, is defensively. Breaking that in. We don't need to completely get rid of everybody, which is, well, to be fair, when Nottingham came up, they got rid of the entire squad. Like, thanks for getting us promoted, lads, but fuck off. We don't want to be doing that. We've got a lot of talent in our squad, and we want to keep some of those players. There's one player I think we could get rid of, which might cause a little bit of discourse in this chat right now, but there is an improvement there, and that's Anthony Patterson. If we swap our goalkeeper, I think we're saving a lot more goals this season. Who we get in for that person, I don't know, but we need somebody in the Premier League that is able to command the back four. And I don't think Pato's still, he's like a great shot stopper, but he's not a leader at the back, and that's what we need if we want to keep as many clean sheets as possible. That's for me where we need either him to step up or somebody to replace. So recruitment needs to be smart and not just splash the cash, in my opinion. If we just splash the cash, we'll do what the last 6 promoted teams have done, go up to come back down. I'd rather solidify, make sure these players are Premier League quality, and then bring them back into the Premier League next season. And again, also reward everybody that's gone through our squad, give them a pay rise. We've got the money now for it. Give them a pay rise.
Yeah. Ian, you want to come in?
Well, starting on Anth's last point, I think the fact that we're being promoted has been written into the majority of contracts, and they will get a pay rise. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Going on, first of all, your point about getting 220 million or something, okay, but it's over the next 4 years. We haven't got that cash in hand. What we have got is income from sales of players. We'll have income from the first half season of the TV money gets paid out in August. We'll be getting money for that, so we can speculate to accumulate. Going on to Patterson, I can see where you're coming from, Anth, and being an ex-keeper myself, of course.
From the league.
My main problem with Patterson is he can't open his gob. For me, 60% of the keeper's game is letting everybody know what's going on. He's the one bloke on the pitch who can see everything. You might have a captain like Neil who's sat in the middle of the pitch. He doesn't know what's going on behind him. He knows everything, but he's not shouting. Can you remember Peter Schmeichel? Schmeichel was brilliant for that. You could hear him over the noise of the crowd, bollocking his forwards for not scoring goals.
I always thought it was a shame he wasn't called Michael.
Sorry?
I always thought it was a shame that he wasn't called Michael instead of Pete.
Michael Schmeichel. Yeah, that would have been good.
Sorry, that's not good. Yeah, it's not very good.
It would have confused the bastards anyway. But as I say, Patterson, yeah, but you've got to find a bloody good keeper who's not going to cost a lot. As regards investment in the squad, what I don't want to say is bringing in people who cost a lot of money, who don't fit. The main strength of our squad is that everybody gets on with everybody else. You can see that on the pitch. You can see that after the game. I mean, I've done meet and greets treat with the players, and they're coming out and they're all joking on with each other and everything. It's just brilliant. And we've got to keep that together feeling going. I mean, there's a train of thought that Luke O'Nien won't play in the Premier, or if he does, he won't play all that often. Okay, fair enough. He's 30. Started playing in the fourth division for Wigan Wanderers before he came to us. But for me, he's a very, very important part of Sunderland. He makes the dressing room tick. The amount of times that I've heard about him greeting young lads coming through or new signings, and he's taken them under his arm and he's introduced them. He's just a wonderful human being. I don't want to marry him because I'm not like that, but nevertheless, he is a hell of a bloke, and I hope that God we don't fuck him up. I love for him to end his career at Sunderland and get a job in the back room, even if it's just looking after players.
Yeah.
Being a players ambassador, that'll do for me.
Well, I tell you what, you can tell that you're retired, Ian. Do you know why? Because you've got plenty of time to read up and like how often we're going to get payments from the Premier League and TV rights. I mean, takes some reading, that doesn't it?
It's that stuff that sticks, you know. I read something on Facebook and it sticks, or it goes out the other ear.
Well,
you know,
you've got plenty of time to read it.
Important stuff like Donald Trump's the president of the fucking United States. When did that?
Yeah. Dermot, I'm going to come to you. So, yeah, this model and the money, I haven't got any kind of concerns because I think that the way that they've managed to bring in players, listen, they've bought some shite in as well, has to be said. And the majority of those are kind of foreigners who have like failed to succeed. But I'm not concerned.
What's an understatement?
Yeah. I'm not concerned about the recruitment because I think if we have got a clear plan and a clear model, I'm confident that we can bring in the right players. But the Premier League probably demands bigger fees than the Championship.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to work out which way we're going to go now. And, you know, it was interesting what Ian said there about the money. I think, you know, some people will just say that figure, 220 million, and think, why aren't we going out and spending it already? You know, why we're going to have to spend 152 million this summer. We probably haven't got it. I think they were putting in plans even before the playoffs to get extra investment in, to get more money in, to be able to perhaps spend this summer to keep us in the Premier League. I think there's on Ready to Go, for example, people have been saying how much money we're going to spend, going from 50 million up to 250 million. You could pick a figure anywhere. Nobody knows how much we're going to spend. What I would say was on what Anth said, I think is right about Pato. But I think Pato and everyone else who started that game and everyone else who came on as subs, there's a core base of about 13, 14 players who could all prove themselves in the Premier League. I think Anthony Patterson still can as well, but maybe he just needs competition. He just needs a goalie who's going to compete with him, because the other lad last year was just really cover, wasn't he? He was never going to come in and take over. Maybe if we can get a young goalie who can compete with Patterson. And then the other name just that I'd throw in, because I think we've got to start somewhere building more of a squad, because we only have 12, 13, 14 players who could potentially play in the Premier League. After that, it's kids and fellas who haven't made it and fellas who are out on loan. We've got a load of dead wood to get rid of. Everyone who went out on loan, Rusin, Avshish and all these people, we just forget about them because they're not going to be Premier League quality with all that. They weren't even Championship quality. But the one name I'll throw out there now, and I think we should just go out and get him because he'll fit in perfectly, is Jordan Henderson. And that, some people won't agree with that, but it's about opinions. I think John Henderson is Premier League experience. Stick him in the middle. He won't play every game, but there you go. I think he should be the first name on the list, and then work from there. And they've got to bring in 3, 4, 5 quality Premier League class players to give us a chance of not being in the bottom 3, basically.
Yeah, well, listen, Anth and Ian, I'm going to come back to your comment in a minute. I saw it in the chat there about one particular player we could bring back in. But Chris, I'm going to go to you first on Jordan Henderson. Would you be keen to bring him in?
I think he'd be a good addition, like as Dermot said, an older head, somebody who can play 20, 30 minutes here or there. Like if we happen to be a goal up against someone and it's backs against the wall, and bring him on and he can sit in the middle of the pitch and dictate. And he's clearly a Sunderland fan. He was at the game, clearly a very high quality player. So I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. But as Ian also said, I don't want to see us doing what we did last time and just hurling money at foreigners who don't want to be there. Because it ends in disaster. We'll just end up back where we were. So I'd rather we bought wisely and let's face it, the odds of us staying up are slim. But if we bought the right players in and we did manage to get 17th and then we could build from there, I don't want to see us just hurling money at the problem because it doesn't work. We need to stick with the model. And again, as Ian said, it's a group of players that really get on with each other, and we need to protect that because they've got each other's backs, and that makes it a world of difference.
Yeah, I can't say us hurling money. Paul, Jordan Henderson, could he be the replacement for Job or Dan Neil?
Yes, he would be the best player in the team. He would be the most successful player with the best. I mean, they're young players, right? So they can't. It's hard to compare, but he would be the best player in the team. And I can think of years ago where you would only dream of having a player in a Sunderland team that was a full international. Like when you're playing Championship Manager back in the day and you can't get an international to join your bloody team. So this guy's not only is he from Sunderland, he's played in the top flight longer than anybody in recent history, recent decades has that's from Sunderland or represented by Sunderland. Jordan Pickford being the other one. Actually, let's get both back. Here you go. That's your goalie problem solved right there. So we'll get Jordan Pickford back and he'll go in goal. We'll stick Henderson in the centre of the park. I can't think of anyone from Sunderland that's a good forward though. But what about that lad who went to Man United years ago? He was a young
Hugel.
Hughes or something, was it?
Hugel, yeah, but I don't know where he is now.
Oh, I can't. I mean, I would. We've got it. If we can get Jordan Henderson back, despite the whole shenanigans with going off to Saudi Arabia or wherever it was, I don't give a shit about that. He is exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. So if he's in the three-man midfield and he's the defensive midfielder, and I was playing to start, I would not bring him on as a sub. I would bring him straight on to start because he's the best and the smartest player we have. He's used to a far higher level than any of our team are. You put him in straight away. You try and get him to stay for 50, 60 minutes. And if he starts getting a bit tired, stick Luke O'Nien in there. It doesn't matter if we go down. Really, seriously, I'm not that bothered. Get the money. Spend less than half of it, including wages, bank the rest, and just maybe he'll stay up. But you would definitely need a Henderson defending the back four because, as the fella said, Patterson doesn't communicate. He's a sullen lad. You never see him out there shouting. And I mean, Peter Schmeichel's an extreme, but I agree that keepers do need to command their area. He doesn't do that. So having Henderson would solve the problem, or getting O'Nien in there, but it depends if you go with this defensive midfielder or you have the whatever the formation is, whatever the formation is. But I think Job's going. It's a bit shitty, really, isn't it? A couple of days later, he's won the bloody thing with his team, and he's buggering off to Germany 2 days later. I don't really like that.
Well, we'll come on that in a minute. But I want to go to your comment because you mentioned there, could we bring Jack Clark back? So, what do you think?
Jackie Clark.
You told me, sorry.
Yeah.
Jack Clark, it's just one of those players that I think, obviously, we went and got rid of him because he wanted that Premier League experience. He didn't really get a proper shout with Ipswich. So, it makes sense. If he wants to return to the Premier League, he's got an easy back with us. We might even take a pay cut because he didn't get that much game time, which means he should be, in essence, a second-string Premier League player. So we might get a discount if they want to offload that wage, or if he wants to try stick where he's at with Ipswich, then that's his prerogative. But we like him. We like his character. And I think everybody got on board with how he departed us. The caveat to that, I'm going to say it goes to Henderson, it goes to Pickford and Maja. Anybody who's a former player, you've just got to take that with the hint of nostalgia. Like for me, Defoe's like the prime example of a player going away and coming back. You remember the first time with just rose-tinted glasses, but the second time they're back, it is more. They're a lot more mature. They're slower. I think because Clark's still, it can definitely work. I think Clark would work definitely because he's still in his mid-20s. But with Henderson, for me, I don't think his pace matches our style. His distribution would be perfect for that central defensive midfielder spot, but he's not dropping back fast enough past some of those Premier League players. He's just not. So it's like, does that player fit our full team, or does it disrupt something that needs fixing? And if it's a perfect balance, we've just got to trust Speakman to do that recruitment effectively. I think there's a lot of personality tests that need to be done in that as well. Does bringing Henderson back bring too much nostalgia and like, oh, this is the way we used to do it back in the Sunland? That's the thing I'm a little bit reserved on. So,
sorry, Paul, you want to come in?
Job and Neil are both slow, and I reckon Henderson's fitting the both of them.
Yeah,
and he's going to be pinging the ball around. You know, he's going to be pinging the bloody ball around as best as he can, right? But if they do go to this low block style, why wouldn't you have Henderson? You know, it's only going to be an issue if they're going for it, which they're not probably going to, because every team in the bloody league knows that Sunlun are just going to try and get the ball to the left wing or the right wing, and they're going to cut inside and then da-da-da-da. So yeah, we're going to be on the back foot somewhat, aren't we? This season.
Yeah. Well, go on, Dermot.
I was just going to say, I think we need bodies through the door. We had a very weak squad to get up what we've just done. It's a miracle we just got up with the squad we had. It all came right, and we were able to bring on 3 or 4 good subs at Wembley because everyone was fit on the last day. But we didn't have a fit squad. We didn't have a fully fit squad all season. In the Premier League, you need 5 decent players on the bench. You need 5 decent players on the bench every week, regardless of injuries and suspensions, who you can bring on. And I'm not saying John Henderson, like Paul says, would necessarily be starting every game from the beginning, but he's going to help out at the club. He's going to help out with his experience. He's a local lad. I think he's just a perfect fit for the first time.
Every game, mate. Every game.
Well,
from the start.
and maybe he does get started and he proves he's still got it at 35 or whatever he is. But
still got it.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why Tuchel's called him back into the England squad, isn't there? So, Ian, Jove then, it got announced a couple of days after we won that there was pictures of him. I don't know how true they are, but he was in Frankfurt. Then he was in Ibiza the day after. Would you be disappointed that he wouldn't have a crack at the Premier League with us, or do you understand if he did leave now?
I do understand. First of all, he's not going to Frankfurt.
Right.
Definitely not. And he's not going to Leipzig. If he goes anywhere, it'll be Dortmund. In Germany, he might still go elsewhere. He might go and join his brother in Real Madrid. But I can understand it. He's done his bit. He is a bit of controversy after Anth came up with Patterson. I know we missed Job terribly during the season when he wasn't playing. But I honestly don't think he goes that we'll miss him. Especially if we get Henderson in and we've got Lafine now. Yep. And if we play him in his natural position, Job's best marrier on the team seems to be Dan Neil, and I suspect Dan Neil will go as well. So we're going to have to rebuild our midfield anyway. If we can get 35, 40 million for Job, they take the fucking hands off. I won't hate Job. I would love him to stay. He's going to command a decent wage for us, and apparently KLD is trying his best to keep him. But I think his life plan from the start. If you look at what his brother's done, okay, he's not his brother. But if you look at the way that his brother's gone, he was 2-3 years at Dortmund and then he was off to Real Madrid, having started in Birmingham. Job started in Birmingham. He's been with us for 2 years now. And he's a man. He's not the poor bugger that was knackered at the end of last season. What the hell happened to him last summer, I don't know, but he came up a proper bloke. He played brilliantly. These performances of late haven't been all that great. I've got a mate who's a Dortmund fan, and he was at the QPR game with me, and he said, I'm not all that impressed with Bellingham. And I could, looking through his eyes, I could see why. And that's why I saw watching him at Wembley, and I thought, okay, he's good. He's very confident on the ball, but how often have you seen him start up the pitch with the ball at his feet and then turn round again, back again?
Does it 90% of the time.
What's
Goes deep, receives the ball, passes it back to the defender. Occasionally spins around. He's like a heavyweight. His brother's a middleweight. He's nippier, he's lighter, he's more graceful. His brother is different class. He's a heavyweight, Joe. And I would be amazed if he didn't end up as some sort of defensive midfielder or even a bloody centre back. I mean, that's going to sound crazy, but he ain't no pacey footballer, right? He's not going to go on the wing. He's not going to go in the centre of the midfield up top. So he has to decide or think very seriously, because physically he is a heavyweight boxer.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. As I say, he came on over the summer. The difference between Job and August, Job in the May beforehand, two different people. But
he came on.
Of course, we'll miss him. But if we get a good bit of touch for him, okay, I can live with that.
Go on,
He's going to go eventually.
He's handsome.
He came on this year because, to our detriment, he was forced to play every game last season. You know, there was times last season when we came 16th.
He was on his uppers last year.
Where everyone was saying, why is Joe playing? Why? Well, give him a rest. And, you know, the plan was, or it's probably been a pact with the club, is he has to start. He got his 30 games in the Championship, 40 games last year, and he's improved because of that. But it was to our detriment last season, definitely, because we were bloody useless last season. We came 16th, and we were picking the same team week after week after week. And so, he's turned into this good player. Maybe it's good management of a player as well. And maybe, you know, we're doing the same with Chris Rigg. We're getting him so many games at a very early age as well. And maybe it's, you know, part of our plan to bring these players on.
Chris,
so it'll be interesting.
I want to come to you on this. So, like, obviously, if Job does leave, then would that kind of be an inclination that his family, his representatives don't think he's ready for the Premier League yet, and that if he plays a year in Sunderland and we struggle, he struggles, it could damage his reputation? I mean, that's my train of thought. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I read a really interesting article, and I hadn't had that thought bubble until I'd read it, where they said pretty much just that, where his family will be going, Sunderland are probably going to struggle. All likelihood is they'll come straight back down. That's bad for his reputation. He needs to go somewhere else. And the Bellinghams do manage their boys' careers very closely, and I think that's definitely a part of it for sure. I think that's definitely a contributing factor. But yeah, it's a really interesting thought bubble.
Yeah.
Champions League as well. Getting them into the Champions League as well, isn't it?
Champions League, different culture, different language, grow up even more.
Publicity.
Yeah. And,
sausages.
Cabbage.
Cabbage.
But I mean,
crowd.
I mean, I think we've been linked with about 10 different players this week, haven't we? I mean, I don't know if any of them are close. Anth, I don't know if you've heard anything, any rumours on there.
I think not about coming in, but more going out. And I think the Roma link, players going to Italian league with Dan Neil mainly, is quite an interesting one. I don't understand Roma's perspective on that because, like you said, they are Champions League. Do you think Dan Neil's ready to step up and go straight into the centre of the middle of the park for a Champions League level squad? Oh, I'm not too sure about that. There you go.
They've just given us Enzo Lefebvre.
I was going to say that's probably a balance for the fee for Enzo. You know, okay, we had to pay 30 million for Enzo. We'll pay 10, and you can have Dan Neil.
Yeah,
player swaps. Player swaps are. When was the last time that happened for us? Like I can't remember. Oh,
straight swap.
I know.
Defoe and
Defoe and Anichu.
Defoe and
Altidore.
Best swap ever.
That was a good swap. Right, well, we're going to finish off with one last thing, which is we haven't talked about it much, but Regis Lebris, he's divided opinion all season, especially when we had those runs of draws and defeats. But Paul, overall for a Frenchman that's coming into his first season, for a Frenchman, I'm going to say it, because listen, he's the first French manager in the Premier League since Patrick Vieira at Palace, apparently. So there's no other French managers in the league now. But he came in, he learned English specifically because he wanted to coach in England. He was six choice on a 5-man shortlist.
Yeah.
As the song goes. I think at times, Paul, he did possibly underestimate the competitiveness of the championship, because he mentioned that in France, I think they play about 34 games or something like that, 35, 36 games. Championship is 46. I think he did underestimate at the times, but at the end of the day, he deserves a hell of a lot of credit, doesn't he?
He does, and the team do, yes, absolutely. Of course, we lost Mickey Dodds, didn't we there, mate? I mean, how influential and important was he? I mean, I'm going to say he must have been a little bit influential and important. Seems like a bloody nice guy, mate. Michael Dodds, Mickey Dodds. Yes, a lot of credit to Regis Lebris. Just without knowing, we can see the training videos and they all seem happy enough, right? The players are running around, they're smiling, they look like that. We all want to see that. We all want to see affection between the players as well, because that's the team bonding thing. And what happened during the season is a bit funny, though. It started out like, greyhound out the traps. We're top of the league, 10 games gone, top of the league, and we're just winning. And then there was a weird spell. Dodds left. New guy comes in. people were even playing with the fucking assistant. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Ian.
When we were doing badly. It's bloody him. It's bloody him. It's his fault.
Ian,
and
care to comment, Ian?
Well, it's just, this is it. This is fans. This is football fans, right? Well, what's the difference between this and that? Oh, it's that guy. And, you just want everyone to do well. You just want the team to do well. But I don't know how the bloody hell he's pulled that off at the end there, right? So the second half chat in the final, I mean, they did look different. They did seem to play a lot better.
Yeah.
And you couldn't give anything but credit, could you? A new first season, learning the language, and he gets the bloody team to the Premier League.
I mean, Dermot, we've had some characters as managers. I mean, we've had Lee Johnson, who used the stool to give team talks at half time. We had Alex Neil, who just looked like he wanted to give someone a Glasgow kiss every time he went in front of a camera. We had Phil Parkinson, who wouldn't even look at the camera.
He could vote for England,
He was a shifty bugger when he Parky. He wouldn't look you in the frickin' eyes. He's
no.
Yeah.
And we had, who else did we have? We had David Moyes, who said we were going to get relegated before the season even started.
We've had some terrible managers over
We've had some terrible ones.
Come on.
Simon Grayson, yeah. We're going to play 4-3-3 and 4-4-2 and 4-5. In fact, we're going to play the whole fucking lot.
We've had people who are just not qualified to be football managers, and they showed up in a matter of months. And, it was only 2 seasons ago we're going through 3 managers a season. Yeah. So that has to stop. So, yes. I'd give Regis Lebris all season. If we're going to be bottom 3 all season and we're going to go down, long as there's signs that we're fighting, you might want to, keep them again, get us up from the championship the season after next. But what I would say is, reading a bit about him, he seems a very intelligent kind of thinker of a manager, one of these, continental
more modern thinking managers. Yeah,
modern. Well, he's got a PhD in managing elite athletes. That is if you're going to have a qualification to be a football manager, it's that, isn't it? PhD in managing elite athletes. Regis Lebris, and he comes over. He speaks English very well, and what he says, if you actually listen to his words.
He stopped saying the word interesting every other freaking sentence, so that's good. That's good for me.
It's good. Yeah.
I can't stand that as a language teacher. I don't want to hear the word interesting. All right.
He's still
it's
saying
interesting
connection.
Because. Oh, you see, I wasn't going to say anything about that. That little one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting connections and the team and the connections of the team.
It's very hard to sound interesting. It's very hard to sound interested as a football manager, anyhow, because it's just all bollocks. It's being talked at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean. He to do it in a second language, he comes across very well. He's a deep thinker. That's what we should say about him. He's got a PhD in managing elite athletes, and he's just got us up at the first attempt. So I think he's got to have a full year, and I think you got to give him 2 years as well back in the Championship. If, as we all suspect, we're going to struggle. But the other one thing that I will say about him and the whole season as well, his masterstroke really was bringing in Enzo Lafay, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So that was his idea. That wasn't Speakman, was it?
No. Chris, so there's a new bridge in Sunderland, going from Keele Square to the Stadium of Light. People are outraged that one of the nominations for the name on the shortlist isn't Regis Le Bridge.
Only right. Should be Regis Le Bridge. I know I don't live there anymore, but still, it should be Regis Le Bridge.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be up for conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, lads, we're going to wrap it up there because we've almost done 2 hours. I think Ian probably wants to go out in his garden. Do you know, Ian, or not?
Well, the sun's shining at the moment, but we had a hell of a thunderstorm last night, so God knows what state it's going to be in. I think I'll put my wellies on it to do some gardening.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Before we finish, Lee, we finish, I'm sure I speak for the lads that are on here, hopefully, and also the majority of the lads who have appeared on the podcast during the year. I'd just like to say thanks very much for giving us this opportunity to speak to each other from every corner of the bloody world. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've spoken absolute shit at times, but what the hell? As long as somebody's listening, I don't give a damn. And it was great to see you at Wembley. It was great to see you in the flesh, not just you, but a hell of a lot of other lads who I've appeared with on the podcast over the years. Looking forward to meeting you all at the FA Cup final next year.
And then the Champions League final the year after.
Aye, that's the one. And long mate, last mate, keep up the good work and thanks a lot, man.
You got to try hard not to get me to cry, eh?
Well, did my best.
Yeah.
Tell you what, there'll be plenty for us to moan about next season. Once,
oh yeah, of course there will.
Once it starts,
I wouldn't be happy
once
otherwise.
Well, I tell you what, Ian, I mentioned at the start of the podcast that I did want to mention, like, your first appearance on the podcast. You said, I've never done one of these before. What do I have to do? And I thought, fucking, what have I got myself into here? And then, obviously, first appearance, I get people to tell their Sunderland story. So he's telling his Sunderland story, talking about Roker Park and the smell of bovril and pork pies and mince pies and all that.
Aye.
And all of a sudden, his missus starts singing German hymns on the TV.
Yes.
And he stands up and he says, hang on, I was going to get the missus to shut up. So he started...
It was a hell of a right hook, I'll tell you.
There was... So there's like me and Michael from the Irish Black Cats, and I was like, well, Michael will just like keep on going. Ian comes back, he sits down, and he just starts shouting. He said, right, I've put a sock in her mouth. And I was like, I'm going to be cancelled before I've even started. But listen, lads, like, really, really grateful for your time this season and thoroughly enjoyed meeting everyone. I think we've had over like 30 guests on the podcast this season from all over the world. It was just like a wild dream at the start of the season. It started with me and Justin and Dan from the Bulgarians. And it just like went from strength to strength. And listen, some people might like us, some people might not like us, but who gives a fuck? I don't do this for the likes. I do this for the banter, to connect international fans. I've had a good time. I hope you've had a good time. Dermot,
definitely.
Do you want to come in there?
No. Just to say back up what Ian said. Yeah, great work, Lee, and it's been really good that you to get it on, and hopefully we'll continue it next season.
I need a break. I need a break though. Anth,
final word. Summer's there for.
It's been a wild roller coaster of a season, and hopefully, if it's Sunderland, and let's face it, it will be a wild ride next year as well. So enjoy your break. Thank you. And what's it? Classic. Well, lads. Fuck the mags. See you next time.
Keep the faith.
And Shearer's a wanker.
Till the end. Till the end.
Chris, final thoughts?
Just what the other lads have said, honestly, Lee, thank you for setting it up. Thanks for including people and for bringing it all together. Like, I know it's just virtually, but it's been great to meet fans from other places. You know, there's not a lot of fans in Brisbane. I don't get to go and socialise with them, so it's been really, really great, and hopefully it'll continue next season. I've really enjoyed it, so thank you.
Yeah, I started doing it on Sunday afternoons, but when I got like you guys in Australia, I thought, well, after shorten my sessions on Saturday night and make sure I don't have any hangovers, but there have been a couple of hangovers on the Sunday, mind. But
Your
listen,
sacrifice is appreciated.
Yeah. Right, gents, thank you very much. We are Premier League. We'll be back at some point, I imagine, end of July, beginning of August for the pre-season build-up. Again, thank you very much. And how are the lads?
Away the lads.
We're the lads.
There it is. There it is. Tommy Watson parts with a £220 million gift for his boyhood club. Unbelievable. Soak it in, Frankie. Soak it in.
Sunderland are back in the Premier League after 8 seasons away.